Hello, this is Caravan RV Travel. My name is Konstantin, and right now you're about to see a very interesting video about, well, how to store a trailer in your own yard, and more importantly, what kind of use it can bring you when it's not on a trip. Because when it's here, when it's just sitting here, we want it to still be useful. We want it to be a really nice little external house in your yard. Let's say, for example, friends come over and they want some privacy. They don't want to live in your main house. Here we make it so they can relax here in comfort. Or let's say you're renovating your house. You're sanding the floor, coating it with varnish. It stinks like crazy. You can't breathe in there. You need somewhere to stay for 2 or 3 days. You stay here in the trailer. Or here's another one. Your beloved mother-in-law from, let's say, somewhere far north like Springfield, Alaska. Yeah, you can imagine the type. She loves you very much, but it's best to settle her right here, a bit further away, so she can bake pies all day long, and in the evening, she can come over and bring them to you as a treat. Or maybe the kids are going wild, running around the yard, chasing each other, and you let them run into the trailer, and they live here for a bit. Basically, there's a whole bunch of reasons to use this trailer as a living space when it's not traveling. And now let's look at what systems it should be connected to, so that both in winter and in summer, it's comfortable, warm in winter, cool in summer, so that it really works as an extension of your main house. We have 2 trailers here to show you, to compare the convenience of connecting them, a European one and an American one. This here is the European trailer, a Hobby Deluxe 495 FB. We'll start with it, see how it's connected, and how convenient it will be for, say, that mother-in-law from Springfield, Alaska, who's living here and making you pies to serve in the evening. Nothing's easier than connecting the trailer to electricity. Here's the socket. Here's the plug. And there you go. Electricity is fine. Now, the water system. Any trailer has 3 types of water. Gray water, that's what comes from washing your hands, doing the dishes, drains down and goes somewhere. Black water toilet waste, you know what I'm talking about. And so-called fresh water, that's what you get from the faucet to bathe, cook, whatever. Let's see how these 3 types are handled in this case in a European trailer. First, gray water. Not a single European trailer has a built-in gray water tank. So when you wash your hands or shower, it drains straight under the trailer. To avoid a puddle of soapy water, you put a portable rolling gray water tank under the outlet. As you wash, it fills up, and once it's full, your mother-in-law, when she sees it's full, has to take it and empty it somewhere. So with gray water, you're always monitoring, always keeping it in mind, always checking, so it doesn't overflow, because otherwise there'll be a puddle under the trailer. Now, black water, that's the chemically treated waste from the toilet. It accumulates in this cassette about 25 liters in this trailer. One person fills it in about 2 days, 2 or 3 people in 1 day. You've got to empty it somewhere. If you're in a campground, there's usually a septic to dump it in. But at home, what do? Let's say the cassette's full, the little light is on, you can't use the toilet anymore. Your mother-in-law calls you, or she does it herself if it's nighttime and she doesn't want to wake anyone. So you pull out the cassette, see, like this, and yeah, it's not the prettiest job. Inside we've got chemically treated waste, and you need to put it somewhere. And yes, sometimes, look, already you can see drips over time. If you don't service the cassette properly, don't lubricate it with silicone, you'll be wearing gloves to dump it, because those drips will be on your hands. Not pleasant. Once, when I had a European trailer, I took the cassette home and tried to dump it into my toilet. They almost killed me. The smell of the chemicals hung around for 2 days. Never did that again. After that, I dumped it outside over the fence. But, you understand, near your own house, you might end up dumping it into a grate. And if the grate has small gaps, the chemicals and solids get stuck, and you have to take a pressure washer to it afterwards. Now, luckily, This time we've just got water in here, thank God. Imagine if it wasn't water. Oh, there's a water trap in there to stop the smell, but it also slows down the flow when you dump. The same kind of trap you have in a house toilet. So imagine if it was real black water. Oh, never again. This is a procedure in European trailers every day or two. Not my favorite. All right, let's put it back, and I'm gonna wash my hands. So, how do we fill fresh water? Let's say guests have arrived to visit you. You've settled them in the trailer, and now you need to fill it with fresh water so they can have normal running water. Here's how it works in a European trailer. The water comes not directly from your house's water supply, but from a tank. And that tank has to be filled with water depending on its size, usually 70 to 120 liters. So we fill the tank, and as soon as the water in that tank runs out, meaning it's all poured out, we have to fill it again. The same applies to fresh water. It needs servicing. Once the tank is empty, we run a hose, turn on the tap, fill it again. It's empty, fill it again. Empty, fill it again. Some European trailers also have what's called a toilet system. What's that? There's a float inside. And when the water level in the tank drops below a certain point, a valve opens, just like in the lid of your home toilet tank, and water flows in. But the sound of water filling is so unpleasant. Since you're constantly using the water, it keeps topping up, and the noise is about the same as when your toilet tank fills up only here. It's constant because you're constantly using the water. That's a specific quirk of fresh water, and actually of any water in European trailers. So let's sum it up. Gray water from washing goes into a tank, and you constantly have to empty it. Black water from the cassette toilet also constantly needs to be emptied, and it's an unpleasant process. Fresh water, the opposite, needs to be constantly topped up. Now, moving on. When you store the trailer in winter, in cold temperatures, you need to maintain a certain temperature inside if you want it to serve as a guest space, a place to invite your mother-in-law, let the kids run wild and even live there, or hide from your wife, or on the contrary, be alone with her. To do this, you need to keep a certain temperature all the time. The best way is to connect a large gas cylinder. One big cylinder will last you the whole winter. The thing is, when you're not there, the temperature inside mustn't drop below plus 5 degrees Celsius, so the liquids won't freeze. And when you're there, you just raise it to plus 2, 3 degrees Celsius. If you keep the microclimate this way, a cylinder will last all winter. But the problem is, the connection for the cylinder is inside the trailer, behind a hatch, and you can't fully close it, so there's a gap. Cold air gets in through that gap. Not convenient, not well thought out. That cold air forces you to burn more gas to keep the temperature. And when it's snowing, everything there freezes over because it's warm inside and freezing outside. Ice builds up, and that compartment gets blocked. All because of that stupid gap. Very inconvenient. Of course, you could use the 2 small tanks, but they need to be constantly refilled. And in winter, when the temperature is below 0, everything under there gets covered in ice, making access difficult. And one more thing, there are hidden inconveniences with the cassette toilet. Not only do you have to service it and empty it, but, well, your mother-in-law doesn't visit every day, and you don't quarrel with your wife every day. Thankfully, though, you might hide together in here often enough. But even if the cassette is only 20% full and you forget about it, in 2 or 3 weeks, the smell becomes so awful you can't even walk in. So even if you only stayed here for 1 day, you still have to empty the cassette. That's just part of European trailer maintenance. And now the most interesting part. Let's talk about how to store not a European, but an American trailer, and how it differs in maintenance. We've just swapped trailers. A European one stood here before, and now we have this beauty, an American motorhome. It's already connected to all utilities. Let's see exactly how it's hooked up. and how it differs from a European trailer. It's in its proper spot, and the goal is for it to be a fully functional house, like your main home, fully integrated into the main house's utility system. And your mother-in-law shouldn't be servicing anything, just baking cookies and treating us in the evening, preferably over here, farther from the main house, so it's nice and peaceful. And the trailer should also serve as a home in situations like during repairs in your main house, when you can't be inside for a few days after varnishing parquet, when friends come over, or when you're building your house and living on site. Actually, I've been in that situation myself. I used a small house while building my main one, and it really saved me. I lived right there, fully controlling the build. For construction on site, this is a perfect solution. In short, the trailer should be a real house like yours without extra worries or maintenance. Let me show you the connections. Starting with electricity, that's simple. We plug the cable into the outlet, and that's it, connected to power. And here's the most convenient thing I've ever seen. No cassette toilet, no gray water tanks to haul around. As soon as you use gray water, it immediately bypassing any tank flows straight into the sewer. No accumulation at all. Let's ask Edgar to just turn on the water now. Yes, turn it on, and we'll see how it flows out instantly, directly into the system. Everything is sealed tight, not just no leaks, but everything is done so correctly that there's nothing to worry about. And you don't have to pull out a cassette toilet and carry it somewhere to empty it. Everything goes straight out. Here, we've even closed the slider on purpose, so you can clearly see this system that lets the water drain directly into the septic tank in transit. Nothing stagnates inside, no cassette toilet to empty, no rolling gray water tanks. Everything drains in transit immediately. And you can see right here how the water streams are running. I asked them to turn on the water, and here you can see these streams. That's gray water, black water hasn't built up. Now notice this, the hoses are standing on supports. What are the supports for? They're made so the hoses have a slope of 3 degrees. This is to prevent water from sitting in the hoses in winter. Because if there's any sage, water will collect there, freeze, and form a plug, and then we can't use the sewer. These supports prevent that. If the hoses were just lying on the ground, they'd sag, because the connection point is higher than the ground, and that would make a blockage, which would freeze into a solid ice plug. Let's move on. This here, honestly, it's just super, I could talk about it for ages. After suffering first with the Hobby 660 and then the 720, which basically sat there like dead weight, this setup is pure joy. Now, when I arrive and connect, I forget about emptying or draining anything. Next, the water connection. The water here comes in under pressure. The motorhome uses the pressure of the city water supply. There are no pumps that switch on only when you open the tap, like in European trailers. Here, the pressure immediately feeds into the trailer's plumbing system, so all the pipes inside are under pressure. We don't use a water tank, so there's no stagnation, because in a European trailer, you fill the tank, then maybe forget about it, and a month later, you come back and start using water that's been sitting there all that time. Here, the tank is disconnected when the trailer is parked, and city water pressure is always used. That means we always use fresh water, never stale water from a tank. Also, note that the connection goes through this hatch or box. Why? So that the connector is always in a heated space. Some people say, oh, in America it's always warm. Not true. Look at how well this is thought out. There's no connector sitting outside like in European trailers where it's covered with ice. Here, the connector is in a heated compartment. Next gas connection. There's no tank hatch where you open up to find cylinders inside. All cylinders are located outside. First, that's a safety requirement. Second, it's just much more convenient to connect the tank. There are no extra hatches, and if, God forbid, a fitting leaks here, the gas doesn't get inside the trailer. This is very, very important. Americans are obsessed with safety, and they always require gas cylinders to be outside, never inside. Take note, that's important. We don't haul out a gray water tank when it's full. It goes straight into the septic. We don't carry a toilet cassette every day or two, and we don't use any chemicals at all. In a European trailer, you always need to use chemicals, and you go through them. Here, there's no need, because all waste, all sewage leaves the trailer instantly into the septic tank without lingering inside and causing a smell after 2 weeks, like I mentioned, happens in European trailers. Gas connects easily, no problem, even if everything is covered with snow. Water connects easily too. So if you live in this trailer, you live in it exactly like in your main house. At home, we don't think about taking a cassette somewhere to empty it. We just go to the toilet. We don't think about draining the shower water, we just shower. We don't think about filling water somewhere, we just use it, because it's always under pressure. It's exactly the same in an American trailer. By the way, I wanted to say all American trailers, when it comes to utility connections, are all the same. Whether it's the cheapest one or the most expensive, whether it's over 290 or a lightweight model that costs less, they're all the same. Now, I also wanted to talk about the septic where all this water drains. It can be connected to your house's main sewer, and that's very easy to do, yes. But if it's not possible to connect to your home's main sewer, then this trailer, these connectors, it's all done very simply. Right here, in my case, I have what's called a septic, basically just a pit lined with bricks. It's an absorption septic, which every private home has. Here, there's a concrete pad and an outlet going that way, also with a slope of 3 degrees, for connecting both gray and black water. Building this septic, making this septic is a day and a half of work and not a lot of money. You call in a tractor, it digs 2 bucket loads, and you line it with bricks. But I repeat, if you can connect to the sewer, you can route these pipes coming out so they go into the main system. I think this video was very useful for you. Now you know what a motorhome next to your house is, how it should be connected, and how and why to use it when it's not traveling but parked right here with you. Believe me, it's something without which, over time, you simply won't be able to live. It's a thing for life. And the next video will be about what a trailer should have so you don't have to constantly load it up back and forth, and what must be inside so it's always ready to travel so you just get in and go. Subscribe to our channel and visit our website. It's always interesting with us.
Caravan RV Travel is an American company that delivers the world's best travel trailers and motorhomes worldwide. You pay the invoice directly to the manufacturer, and within 6 weeks your trailer or motorhome arrives at the port closest to your city. Throughout the entire journey, we control the shipment, carefully overseeing loading and unloading. For customers in the European Union, we provide special conditions and solutions for using trailers and motorhomes legally. American RVs feature slide-outs, the world's best plumbing and heating systems, onboard generators, electric awnings, and much more, everything to let you travel and live in maximum comfort. Caravan RV Travel. Hitch your freedom.